I mean, I'm active in the Elm Street group, but I mean, other than that, I'm not getting on there just flaming the hell out of like whatever. I saw this guy on my friends list, and I immediately thought about unfriending him when I saw it. It was like, this Star Wars movie's so terrible. This is just a waste of time and money. I hope that they all feel like traitors because they wrote a terrible movie. It was like basically a greatest hits of the original Star Wars. I was like, dude, you started this post by saying I'm not going to bash. And then you followed it with nothing but bashing. Do you not see how that's an exercise in futility? Like, do you not see that what you're saying, you've contradicted yourself totally? You know, it's like, just leave it alone. It's like people are going to always be for it, or they're going to be against it. But why don't we just say, saw the movie, not my cup of tea? That way you save time. You don't waste the battery in your phone typing all this shit, and also, you know, it lets you put something up fairly quick out in the social media world so you can be ready to participate in the next group of, you know, things that are total bullshit to happen and comment on. It's like, don't waste. This guy wasted like, oh my God, it was like 5 paragraphs, Travis. And I was like, this is 4 paragraphs too long. I'm sitting here looking at it. It's terrible.
Do you remember, like, not too long ago when I was talking about negative people on Facebook and how annoying they are? That's really just an extension of that. But let me tell you along those same lines, okay? So let me get into this. Do I consider myself a Star Wars fan? I would say yes. I've seen them all, and I've seen them all multiple times. Do I love the prequels? They're okay. You know what I mean? I really like Revenge of the Sith. The other two are okay. There are some shitty moments in those first 3 movies, or, you know, in the prequels. But, like, overall, I like them, and obviously I like the original trilogy, too. I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan on Earth. I can't name some of the weirdest fucking characters on there. Like, I'm not the type of guy that could name just random, you know, like, I know Boba Fett, and that's about as small of a character as I can name. I know what Jawas are, and then, like, you know, people like that. But, like, I can't get too absurd with it as far as some of the character names. But I like Star Wars, I do. But what is really annoying to me, Blake, is not even the people that are talking good or bad about Star Wars. Because if you want to bash it, that's your business. You go ahead. I mean, fuck, what's your point? I mean, because we're still going to like it anyway. But the people that are really dumb to me are the ones that think that being disinterested is interesting. And you'll see what I'm talking about because you've probably seen this post from a lot of people. And this is what makes it even more absurd, is that I've seen more than one person post this. I've seen this Facebook status several times. Either, am I the only person on Earth that doesn't care about the new Star Wars movie, or am I the only person on Earth that hasn't seen Star Wars? The fact that you're not interested in Star Wars does not interest me. That's as uninteresting as your opinion of Star Wars, apparently. You see what I'm saying? Like, how stupid is it for you to go on there and say, not interested in it? Well, you just look like a moron.
Well, people do that because they neglect to remember that there are about 10 million other people that feel the same way, that put the same thing out there. So their post in all entirety is not unique. I've done nothing. Every time a movie comes out, it's like, well, am I the only one that didn't like this and this? I was like, you just wasted like a whole 5 minutes of typing this because I'm going to read it and go, yeah, that's the same bullshit I just heard from 9,999,000 other people. I don't care. So I'm just totally disinterested in it, and they don't think that way. They have this thing that it's this thing where they're like, well, right now everybody else is on a kick, but I forget that there are a bunch of other curmudgeonly, asshole-ish people like myself out there who feel the same way and probably post it, and I just neglect to remember that. And that's what the problem is with them. They forget that they're not the only person. By the time we see that person or those people, because I've seen that post this week like 20 times, Travis, and it's just, I didn't care for it the first time. The 20th time I saw it today, I didn't care for it. It was like, okay, you made your point, but it doesn't, it's consequential to me. So that's the whole point. They just forget there are other people doing it. Nothing they do is one-off. There's nothing they can do is unique as far as that stuff goes. So that's the whole thing.
Do you think it's just, and this is what I think they're just attention whores. You know what I mean? They just want people to comment, you've never seen it, you don't like it, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, really, do you need attention that bad to where you're going to bash
he trolls.
something?
They want somebody to initiate their trolling. And like I said, I can't vouch on the same level as you about not knowing a lot of things about the film, because with any film I see, I fucking take everything in. It's probably why I have to dye my hair, because half of it's gray and white, because I spend all my time doing that stuff. Like, facts nobody cares about, like the fact that the original lightsaber was a modified Graflex flash gun that was set on a timer. And that stuff is stuff nobody cares about. And Han Solo's blaster is a Ruger, Nazi era, 1944 era pistol based off of, like stupid shit like that nobody cares about. So I was a huge Star Wars fan as a kid, but it's like now that I'm older, and I still like those things, I see the amount of effort people put into just fucking hating something. It's like, you could be doing something so much more awesome for somebody else. But, there's been some redeeming things that have happened this week that kind of make me feel better about the grinding the gears part and what aggravates me. A really close friend of mine who built the Freddy gloves, Anders Erickson, his house caught on fire.
Wow.
And it destroyed his workshop, destroyed half their house. And, Robert Englund endorses his gloves. It's the only gloves that Robert has at his table that he sells, and Anders and he are very close personally. And it's just like, to see the amount of people giving like they have. Like, they put up a thing, to donate, and already just in 24 hours, there's been almost $1,800 donated to this cause. And I think that's beautiful that even this close to Christmas, time of the year, that people still want to give and help, and stuff. And that's wonderful, because he's a great asset to the Nightmare community. And, he was the first real glove builder that I ever knew about. Anders and I have been friends since I was 15, and when he started his first website, nightmaregloves.com, and it's so awesome. And I haven't bought a piece from him yet, just because, I just spent money on 2 birthdays and Christmas, so I'm obviously tapped, at the source right now. But, it's so beautiful that he works with people. Like, there was somebody I knew that wanted to buy a glove, and he couldn't afford to buy all of it at once. So Anders let him put a down payment on it and continued to do that till it was paid off. And then he still sent him the glove and a thank you thing and all that stuff. Anders is just above and beyond one of the nicest people in horror, as far as I'm concerned, for that kind of a thing. But I don't know. There's just stuff. I still see stuff like that, so I feel a little bit of the. I don't feel it's like totally going full Sith around Christmas. There's still a little bit of the good side of the Force that sticks with me, so I try to power through that. I did want to tell you something interesting that you should read. That's kind of short, but it's scary as all hell. Steve Johnson posted this thing on his Facebook. It's a public thing you can read, and it's called "And Then in a Twinkling," and it's a story about Christmas. And you get a little backstory, because you remember, he was talking about how he wanted to commit suicide and stuff after, that thing, the disaster with where all the wild things are, and how he went to seclusion in the jungle and all that good stuff. Well, he wrote this amazingly good thing, and it's just, man, it's like Clive Barker, Stephen King, Dean Koontz, and like Lewis Black all rolled into one. It's fantastic. It's scary, but it's like irreverently funny. And it's great. It's on his Facebook, and people have already looked at it and read it, and I left a comment on it. And it's just great. It's just, people think a guy, you just have to read it. There's cocaine involved, and then there's like elves that ass rape each other. It's amazing. You have to read it.
This sounds right up my alley. That sounds really.
It's called "And Then in a Twinkling." That's what it's called. So if you're friends with Steve on Facebook, within the last 10 or 12 hours, he's posted this. So he technically made it public Saturday, so it should be very well accessible still. I've read it again, I've read it twice, and I love it. I think it needs to be made into like a fucking book. And that's when he comes on the show for the Nightmare Retrospective, man, I think he should spend a little bit of the time talking about his books, because he's written 2 or 3. He's written this new memoir, called Rubberhead. It's about, effects and computers in the industry, and it's kind of a funny, irreverent look at things, and I think it's going to be fantastic. But I think he's still on board. He's still going to come on the show. So
good. He's my guy. I like him. I like him a lot. He just seems like a down-to-earth, cool guy, and who is kind of sick of the bullshit. You know what I mean? And I think that's cool.
He is. He's very sick of it. He doesn't wear his heart on his sleeve about things. He doesn't. I mean, some of that footage that I've shown, that I've sent you, the video footage, I mean, I've got like 2 hours of that stuff, and it is, even in his younger days, I mean, this was 87, 88, he is still hilarious. He still has that whole thing going on. He still drinks and smokes like a freight train, even in his younger days, and he's hilarious, man. We're going to have to all get together. You, me, and Vic, I'll bring these movies. We'll get us some beer and, like, fucking sit up there and watch this shit and laugh about it, dude. I'm serious.
Yes.
You're going to love it. Really gonna love it.
Yes, absolutely. He's definitely, no doubt about it. So for me, I don't have a whole lot else to throw out this week. We usually talk about what we've been watching. I haven't watched any horror recently. I'll let you know what I think of Star Wars without any spoilers after I see it.
Okay.
So we'll meet again on January 4th. Do you want to throw anything out before we head out of here?
Well, yes, I just started watching Jim Carrey's A Christmas Carol for the second time, and the wife was trying to...
That's my favorite one.
She was trying to convince me it was okay for the kids to watch. I'm like, no, it's not.
It's scary for kids.
Small, and Jacob Marley would try to move his mouth and keep smalling, and it's scary, but I do want to wish you a happy holiday, and Vic a happy holiday, and all your family, friends, and everybody out in the social media world listening. Happy holidays, and look forward to hearing you all for the retrospective. January 4th, it starts.
I want to wish everybody a joyous Kwanzaa, so I want to make sure I get that across.
Chris Muhammad Kwanzaa, so that one needs to happen.
Happy Festivus. I think we've passed it already, but that's okay. That's okay. But yeah, no, again, thanks for coming in, Blake, as always, and just, shooting the shit with me. But on January 4th, it'll be back to business, okay?
Yes, sir. You enjoy a good week off, and if you need anything, just let me know, man.
Yeah, that'll give me a chance to actually put up those pictures. So I will do that, and we will get a post up about our Nightmare on Elm Street retrospective. So expect to hear from me soon, asking you for some more details on who, when, all that type of stuff.
Put those pictures up so all the people in England that like the American Psycho thing can get to see what my pretty face looks like, So.
Yep, and I'm just going to leave that alone. You have a Merry Christmas, and we'll talk on the 4th, but I'm sure we'll talk before that in some other form, okay?
All right, bud.
All right, later on.
Bye.
Everybody can follow us on Twitter at Trav and Vic Horror. And then you can follow me on Twitter at PhenomenalTLD. You can look up Travis and Vic's Drunken Horror Adventures on Facebook. Vic, you can follow him on Twitter. Sometimes he goes on rants at Vic Von Erich. Sadly, he wasn't here long enough. He was having reception issues, so there's that. He never comes from a good or calls from a great place, so he does what he can when he can. And TravandVicHorror.wordpress.com. If I didn't mention that, you'll see a lot more about upcoming shows on there, and of course our past shows. So if you like the show tonight, you'll find a lot of other good ones. So I will talk to you people later, and have a great night.